You are listening to the IFH Podcast Network. For more amazing filmmaking and screenwriting podcasts, just go to ifhpodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to the Successful Screenwriter Podcast, where we discuss anything and everything screenwriting. Here we interview successful screenwriters and filmmakers to find out just what it takes to make it in the industry. All right, welcome to the podcast. We are live from Script Summit 2020 Virtual Fest. We have Kevin Hanna, the ever affable, talented screenwriter, joining us. He is a staff writer at WeFixYourScript.com. Kevin, thank you for being with us today.
My God, thank you so much for organizing this, Jeffrey. It's been wonderful so far.
Yeah, it's my honor and my pleasure, sir. So we have a bunch of writers from the Script Summit community joining us, and they will be asking us questions throughout in the comments, and I will be relaying them to Kevin, and then we will have I'm sure, a fantastic conflab, sir. So let's see, the first question we have, and this is in regards to, we're talking about Kevin's seminars on branding yourself as a writer, which is so important, and also about how to take and receive notes as a writer, which I can tell you is something that needs to be chatted about. All right, so
yes.
Let's see here.
Thoughts.
Yes, you do. And you will make sure people hear them. All right, so Joaquin Hernandez asks, what can you learn from feedback that isn't very positive and is hard to hear at first? It's a solid question.
The first thing I would say for something like that is a tough business. You know, you're going to get a lot more no's than you are yeses. There's a lot of emotional preparation that goes into just that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you hear feedback from someone that isn't very positive and is hard to hear, what you really have to do is put your own personal feelings to the side and look at it as a part of work. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, you created this. Yes, it's your baby. But the feedback that you're getting is meant to make your work better.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or not, it's just meant to make it better.
Yeah.
So if it's hard to hear, okay, you can just sit there and listen to it and let the person that's so generously given their time to read your work and give you their thoughts on it, let them express their thoughts. And if you have questions, you know, about whether they understood something or whether something made sense or if it worked or how the pacing was, you can ask those questions. But look underneath what they are saying and find the reason why they're saying it.
Yeah, I agree.
What made them feel that what made them feel that certain reaction that is prompting them?
That's a really good point. I mean, part of it, Joaquin, is you got to have a thick skin, man. I mean, you just have to, and that comes with time. And the only way you get that thick skin is by getting that brutal feedback. I mean, that's it. You're going to get that. I mean, if you think you're getting brutal feedback now, wait till you're on set with a director who's got a budget and they need a scene redone, or you have talent that's unhappy with it and they've signed on to the gig, and you need, you're going to get the feedback's just, it's never going to get easier. So you just have to grow tougher.
Well, what I would also like to add on to that is, yes, grow tougher, but still stay vulnerable.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, don't be jaded. I think that's a great point. Don't be jaded.
Yeah.
And to further what else Kevin was talking about is you have to kind of look past what their hangups are. And that's the notes that I call the I feel notes. When you get feedback from somebody and they say, I feel this, I feel that. Well, I don't necessarily care how you feel. I want to know what's wrong with the story. So you have to look past who they are and try and sift through bad notes to find the nuggets. And I think I think Kevin's got a good point there. Let's take a look here. I think we have another, well, yeah, a lot of questions coming in. Okay. All right. So Dale Griffith Stamos asks, I've sometimes heard that if 3 people say the same thing, you'd better consider it. When one person says it, evaluate it for how it resonates with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Sounds like what you're saying, Dale, is, when 3 people say it, you obviously consider it, but what do you do when only one person says it?
Yeah.
And there are so many factors that go into it. Who are you asking? Who are you getting this feedback from? Do you trust them enough that you feel like you don't have to ask 2 other people the same question after reading the script?
So consider the source.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Is this person giving this feedback, does it hit you correctly in a way that, that's true? Does it resonate with you?
Oh, I like that a lot. Does it resonate with you? But I think coming in from the source as well, right? As I work with students, part of it is that they have to trust your advice, they have to trust your word, and you have to have credibility. And there's a lot of people you get notes from that's just not credible, right? They have an opinion, sure, maybe because they watch movies, but that doesn't mean that just because you watch a lot of films doesn't mean you understand story and structure. It doesn't mean that you understand character development.
Yes, and I go, in my feedback seminar, I go into that. Be specific with who you're asking to read your script and know why. So that's all about being judicious with the sources that you rely on for that feedback.
If your brother's sister's uncle's cousin took a writing seminar 20 years ago, I'm probably not going to lean too heavy on those notes, right? But if I get somebody like yourself or anybody else that we're working with that is actively working in the film industry, whether it's indie or not, you need to take those notes seriously, period. It's definitely about the source. All right. And the other thing, and because I wanted to throw this at you, if somebody reads your script and they put the time into it, then they've earned that right to kind of give you the feedback, right? So if I spend time reading your script, I get to say whatever I want because that's time of my life gone. Now, whether I say it nice or not, that's the issue, right?
Well, but that's also why my seminar was about giving and receiving feedback.
Yeah.
Because there are ways to say things that are destructive and there are ways to say things that are constructive when you're essentially saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So, as writers, we're going to be reading each other's work and giving each other feedback. So when you are the one doing the talking, there are ways to express your opinions and feelings and thoughts about it that is going to be constructive for the writer of what you've read to go into rewrites and make the work better. Because it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the work.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's just remove the ego, put it to the side, and discuss the work.
Exactly right, man. I love it. So we are going to flip to branding for a second here. Mike Luch has got a question about branding and awards, basically. Is it important to mention any successes in competitions, being a quarter or semifinalist as far as placements go? Do people even care? Is it if you're not first, you're last type of a thing? Are awards in general or placements worth listing? Or should you just stick with actual I won first place and finalists? So what do you think about that?
Well, if you made quarter, semi, or finalist in page, I'd say drop a name here and there.
Yeah.
Or if, you've won an award at Script Summit, I would definitely mention it. But
well, Script Summit does carry a little bit of weight, right? We are listed proudly as a top 20 screenplay contest in the world. That is, and that was by the Script Lab. I mean, that you can't take that lightly. So does Script Summit carry some weight? Yes. Are we Patriot Nichols? No. But are we your mom and pop film festival? No. So I think if you do place with us at least, yeah, it's worth a mention.
And but see, this is I have questions here because you, Mike, you're talking about branding, and I guess the only time you would ever really mention, a competition placement or wins, obviously in conversation, but also in your written PR material.
Yeah,
that is definitely something to front load in your writer's bio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, script summit placement, page placement. Did you place in Blue Cat? All the bigger competitions. Did you get any fellowships?
Yeah.
Drop those names right at the beginning of your bio. So anybody reading it, like, oh, you have,
hang the shingle. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Put it on your resume.
Exactly.
I mean,
that would be the place to do it when you're writing out.
Throw it on your resume,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt. I don't lead into a conversation like, well, I am,
right.
I don't go there.
No.
But for that, it's more about providing
fastest eye roll ever.
It's more about providing value at that point. All right. So, this is a question from Hal Carlton. Tips.
Hi, Hal.
Hi. Tips for sussing out what the reason behind someone's bad notes are. Questions to help them tease it out. I'll throw that at you, and then I actually have a killer story about this, but I want to hear what your suggestion is to suss out bad notes.
Bated breath for that story.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you don't like their notes. So there's also, and especially in my seminar, I go over this as well. Saying something is good and saying something is bad carries inherent judgment value to it.
Yeah. So
I tend to stay away from using those terms when discussing feedback.
Okay.
So someone's notes that I'm guessing just aren't helpful to you, or maybe they're very critical. Go into, when you get those notes from someone, just start asking them why. Be a journalist. Who, what, when, where, why, how. So but especially with why, because what we engage in, hopefully on a daily basis, this is an emotional art.
Yeah.
So start talking to them about their feelings and their impressions. Okay, so you did not like this. Why didn't you like it? What did you feel? When in the script did you feel this?
Yeah.
And if they can't tell you why, well, okay, then that's something to consider. Okay, you didn't like it, but you can't tell me why. Well, but if they're going to tell you why, then that gives you more information with which to enter your rewrites. Okay, so they told me why. Do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it?
Yeah. No, I think it's good. So you're almost, I don't want to say it this way, but I don't have a different word for it. So you're gonna almost like disassociate. You're gonna step back away from emotionally what you're feeling and get in there, and then try and take an objective approach with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who, what? Yeah. The 5 W's.
Removing thyself and being.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. All right. So I'll give you this story. You probably already heard it. We've known each other for a long time now. This podcast is brought to you by thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com, where you can find instructional videos, blogs, books, and even screenplays from the biggest films in Hollywood, all available for you to download. Visit thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com now and receive a copy of the Guide for Every Screenwriter absolutely free. Yes, free. Just visit thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com. Now, back to our show. I did the script, right? I did the script, I sent it out, and I got notes back from my guy. This is paid notes from a professional service. And this is way before I decided to really try GoPro. So this is when I was like doing the tour across the country and winning, that back then. So So I did the tour and I got the notes back. This guy killed my script, Kevin. I mean, he destroyed it. There was personal attacks in there, like "how dare you" type of stuff. I was like, holy crap! I paid this guy like $125. Yeah, he was coming. He was like coming at me, bro. And so he's hitting me, and then he starts like, I mean, it should have been written in caps at this point. He like how dare you do this? So then at the end of the story, what happens is it's a body swap film, but I did it as a hard drama, and I did it on purpose because most body swap films are comedies, and I wanted to break the niche, and so I did it as a hard drama where two guys switch lives, and then the one guy falls in love with the other guy's wife, and then at the end of the script, the big question is, they have to switch back now, right? But I have one guy look to the other and says, do we have to? And then the other guy smiles and I cut to black. So you don't know if they switch back or not. And I want that on purpose because it's about trying to find love. And then I want you to decide where that love is, right? As the audience member. So it's all on purpose. Well, it broke this guy mentally. So he's coming at me. So he goes, so then they do what? So then they switch back. So then this other guy goes back to this wife that he doesn't love and he just keeps cheating on her. And he starts going on this whole long rant. And I'm like, dude, I didn't write any of that stuff. Like you're so emotionally invested that you're worried about the characters, what happens to them after my story is done. But that's where you find that note that this guy, I had hooked him so emotionally into the story that he lost his mind of what might happen after the characters are gone. So sometimes when you get a bad note, it's because you hit a core with that person. And it's an emotional core and they don't even know how to process it other than just like coming at you. So we have other questions here. Okay. So this is an interesting question. Who are people reading scripts? And I'm assuming professionally. How old would they be demographically? And are they mostly frustrated writers? I mean, I can't answer that question because we don't know who they are. Are some writers frustrated? They didn't make it in the industry and they become readers? Sure, there's a percentage of that. But there's also a percentage of professional readers that are producers who never made it in the industry. So, I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
You know, the snarky part of me, whenever I get bad feedback, is like, they're just a frustrated screenwriter. Meh.
Yeah.
So, yes, you know, so there is always that initial gut reaction because I'm not going to deny my feelings. Just like, you don't understand me. Yeah, of course I have that reaction. But,
well, you're human.
There are actual, you know, producers and people in the industry that do read scripts for competitions. I didn't have the opportunity to last year, but I got invited to be a reader for Final Draft's Big Break.
Cool.
And I didn't have the time to do it, but you know, some ones would have had me as a reader.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how frustrated I was last year, but you know, I would have been reading.
Well, I think
from all across the spectrum.
I understand where she's coming from. So I think it's more of, see, like in our service, right? You know who we are. There's an about us page. You know all the qualifications we have. You know Kevin won the World Series of Television. You know he's done this. He's been through Stowe. You know he's got his creds, right? So there are services that do not have that. There are services where you go and you purchase the service and then they send it out to somebody to work on it and you don't know who it is. And at the very best, you might get initials. And it's not because they're protecting them as a writer. It's because they don't have credits or they don't have any kind of experience in the field that they should have in order to be doing it. And that's I think the concern. So,
and also it's by design that readers for screenwriting competitions are anonymous.
Yeah. You know? I wasn't talking about a contest. I was talking about script consulting in general.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. No, absolutely. But you're right. No, contest is different though. That's anonymous. I mean, ours are anonymous for a reason because we don't want people threatening lives or bribing. So that's the big thing. So Yeah, we have lots of questions, bro. I mean, they're just flying in. I'm trying to catch up. Any experience? I'm so sorry, my dyslexia's kicking in. Any experience with readers going too far and manufacturing flaws to justify having done the best job possible? So I think what Albert is asking is, can readers be too critical?
Sure, readers can be critical. That's the job of a reader. But look within thyself. Ask yourself why. Are they manufacturing flaws? Or is that an ego response?
Oh yeah, well, that's a very interesting take on it. Is it the ego versus no? Do I not want to hear this note? Oh yeah, I like that. That's very, very
that's the first thing that jumps out at me.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna if you can remove ego from the situation, then look at the notes again and say, okay, how are they speaking about the work? And then everybody says it, but I hate using the phrase, the note behind the note. but this is really one of those situations.
Yeah.
So figure out if you agree with what they're saying. And you don't have to agree with what everybody is saying.
That's
about
true.
it. You don't have to.
That's true.
But strive thou for understanding. Understand why.
Well, if you're gonna, and this comes down to, Albert, if you're gonna ask for a note, you got to be ready to receive that note.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in a place where you can hear that note, don't ask for the note yet. You know what I mean? You've got to get yourself there. And I think that's part of it. All right, let's see if we have any. Yeah, they're pouring in, brother.
Wait, gimme.
All right. So Joaquin asks, I've had prior amount of feedback from scripts. What is the case with a very successful amalgamation of feedback from a reader?
What I'm hearing from you, Joaquin, you got a whole bunch of positive feedback from a reader. How does the writer feel? I would imagine pretty fantastic. Great. Thank you so much.
I guess, okay, so if that's the question, so did mom read it? Because if mom read it, those notes don't mean anything. But if you had a pro read it and they like it, yeah, you probably got something going on there.
I'm going from a baseline of, at the very least, peer review of your work.
Yeah.
Not just family and
writers
friends.
Group. Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That is my baseline of comparison with peers at the very least.
Well, I know. I see. I've had students come up to me and be like, my family loves the script. I go, well, that doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
That just means that
my
they
mom
love you.
thinks I'm a genius.
That just means they love you. So let me read it. All right. So Lucinda asks, when I get widely divergent assessments of my work for the same contest, I get the feeling the negative one just doesn't have a life experience needed to get it. These are so subjective. It's hard to, because we're kind of getting into like an esoteric feeling of note taking and receiving notes.
I'm also smelling in this question a little bit of
smelling it.
Just a soup song.
You're just getting a whiff.
I'm just getting a whiff, just on the breeze.
That's hilarious. I love the way you think.
A little bit of, I'm hearing a little bit of ego. What I would say is maybe, maybe they don't have the life experience needed to get it. But what I'm definitely hearing underneath here, you don't understand my genius. Okay, well, maybe they don't. Also, strive to understand why.
Yeah.
If that is the real reason, okay, maybe. Are you going to ever find out, is this a 22-year-old? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but when you proceed from the assumption, like I say in my seminar, we are all creative geniuses. Every single one of us. No, but legit.
I know. I never think of it that way. I think it's. I never consider,
because it removes classism.
It does. Yeah. You put everybody on an even keel. I think it's great.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You and I, everyone here, all writers around the world, we are creative geniuses.
Yeah.
So with that as the first assumption, keep asking yourself why. Okay, why did they give me this? And sometimes you'll never get the answer to that question. So then you have to figure out by yourself, okay, do I incorporate this feedback into my next round of rewrites or don't I? Do I agree with it? Does this feedback help me tell the best story that I can?
The ego is tricky. So you can have it and not even realize it. I mean, I'm guilty of it. You know, I'm constantly trying to just stay humble and grounded, because I've seen those writers that get the big heads and even their careers crash because of it. And I just want to be that guy that keeps working and is friendly. So
this is a collaborative art.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know?
so
nobody wants to work with an. So
is the ego coming into play? It could be. Can you write above someone's level? Absolutely. Can you write above someone's level? You can. Can you write a screenplay that they don't get? Yes. Can you be writing a screenplay that you think is brilliant but may not be? Yes. So then it's just like you have to really look at it objectively. We have another question here from Janine, and I'm going to paraphrase it. So what they're asking is, if you get feedback that you feel is too personal from a source, how do you defend your work without ending up on a blacklist? And I think it is a good question.
Treat it like a business relationship.
Exactly.
If they are getting personal with you, like talking about you instead of the script, steer the conversation back to the script.
Yeah.
And say, okay, I hear you on that. What about this part of the script? How did you feel about the story? And steer the questions back to the work.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you don't want to burn bridges, obviously.
No.
So treat it like a professional business relationship and talk about the work instead of having the conversation steered toward water cooler talk.
I think that's a solid point, man. And sometimes a reader just won't like your voice as a writer. Like, I have a very distinctive voice as a writer. You know, Kevin has a distinctive voice as a writer. Sometimes you read a writer's work and their voice doesn't resonate with you. And there's nothing is going to change that. That's just not the right reader for you. And then the other thing I'd say on top of what Kevin said, which is good notes, do you have to defend yourself? Why? Why do you have to defend yourself? There's no need to. Like, be secure in who you are as a writer. Be secure in the script that you've written, but understand that your script needs improvement, just like we all do as people. So don't sit there thinking I have a perfect script and this is why I have to defend it. You know, I mean, when I get feedback, I want to defend it, you know, when people don't like it, but then I know, like, this isn't the right, no one wants to hear me defend it. What are they trying to say?
Well, exactly. You know, it's art. Not everyone is going to like the same piece of art.
Yeah.
You know, I hate Friends. I can't stand it. But, you know, it ran for how many ever years, and that's great, and that's wonderful, and, you know, people love it. So, like you said, not everyone is going to like your work, and that's okay. If they just don't like it, they don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. Clint Ford's got a great question. I like this one.
Hi, Clint.
Yeah. How do you deal with conflicting feedback? So, you know, you get one person and he says, you know, one says, try it this way. One person says, try it that way. And then another person likes the original. So how do you deal with conflicting feedback?
Which feedback helps you tell the best story you can?
There you go.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's your judgment call, you know? Yeah. And I would also say, when you have a choice between option A and option B, option C is usually the best one. It's all about making the choice in your rewrites that help you tell the best story you can.
Yeah, or you can even cannibalize the notes, right? So say you like a little bit of note one, a little bit of note two. Yeah, pick it apart and then create a hybrid of the two. or don't go with any of them. I mean, there's nothing, just because you get a note doesn't mean you have to adhere to the note, right?
And I go through that in my seminar as well. How to avoid a Frankenstein script, writing by committee. Yeesh.
Oh my God. Can we talk about this for a second? Because I am you've like hit me. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I am seeing it on like Facebook writer groups where one person will say, I'm writing a story. What would be a great title for it? And somebody picks a title. That's the title of the story. Well, what would be a central character who's struggling with alcoholism? What kind of job would they have? Somebody else picks a job, right? And so then they crowdsource the script, and it drives me crazy because that is not what a writer's group does. You create the material. You do the research. Okay, you make and write the script. You put the hard work into it. Then you reach out to the screenwriting community and you say, hey, can anybody do me a favor? And I'll return the favor. You don't just go online and ask the Facebook Hive to write your story for you.
I completely agree. For the situation that you're talking about, it's creative laziness.
I totally agree with you. And as a screenwriter, and I try not to be that guy, Kevin, but I'm insulted because it's an insult to any of us that really work our tails off. We have another question for you. We might run out of time, Kevin.
Hit me with it.
I'm trying. It's a long one, and the dyslexia's kicking in hard today. I got it. In a contest, in a contest scenario where you pay for feedback, is it acceptable to ask for details to the I feel statements, or just don't enter that particular contest again and focus on the ones that provide helpful feedback? I personally love trying to follow up if they allow you to do that. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. If you can get it, if they give you the option to, ask follow-up questions, yes. Who would say no to less feedback? Absolutely, 100%. If you have follow-up questions and, the contest offers you that option, absolutely get as specific a questions to those readers as soon as you can. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we took that to the next level. So with the We Fix Your Script, you can get notes from us, right? You can get notes from Kevin. Kevin will give you notes, send it to you, and then after you review it, he'll spend an hour with you one-on-one doing conversation. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we took it the whole new, we took a whole new level because I just remember when I would get notes from people, right? I'd get notes and then they would blow up my world with the notes. And then they go, well, what the hell? And I'd want to get more explanation, but they didn't have that built into the process. So by being able to chat with somebody after the notes, I mean, that's where the growth comes from, because all the notes do is just raise questions in you that don't necessarily get answers. So if you can follow up with somebody, absolutely do. I think it's great.
Certainly. Yes.
But do it. Yeah.
It will only help you grow as a writer.
Absolutely. But do it in a non-emotional way, right? Non-confrontational. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Keep it professional because this is work. It's called show business, not show art.
Kevin, it was really great having you on. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love being had.
All right. You have a good one.
Thanks, you too.